Well, Ulysses, it's one of our favorite episodes to do. Typically, not all the time, but typically we do it on Wednesdays, and we have that today. Mailbag episode.
And it's an in-depth mailbag question brought to us by an OG listener. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Voice memos preferred. We actually did receive a voice memo recently, but it is too late for this mailbag edition. So keep them coming. We do appreciate them. This one from Ulises, like you mentioned, OG listener Ty McCann. This is a question that requires some research and requires some in-depth thinking, and I'll throw it out right here. Ty says, where do you think that the Tampa Bay Rays rank among AL East teams, quote unquote, up the middle? Up the middle, for those of you that may not be privy, that concerns catcher, second base, shortstop, and center field.
Yeah, so when you say you have to do some research, definitely have to do some research for this because there's a lot of players involved with this. So of course, if you're an OG listener of Locked On Rays, you know what I did. I went to Excel. I did my conditional formatting. I got it all pretty. I will say I can rank the last team first, in my opinion, and it's the Red Sox.
Okay, at least we're on the same page there. Yes, Red Sox by, I think, a mile.
Yeah, I don't see how they are not fifth. Like, if you look at catching wise, Wong and McGuire, are you really expecting a lot from those guys? Then you go to Vaughn Grissom, great player, great young player who could be great. You don't really know, but who could be great.
He's a question mark.
It's a question mark, exactly. Trevor Story, a proven commodity for his first 6 years in the league, signs a big contract, and then gets hurt, and then gets hurt again. So I would say another question mark too. Like, you don't know what Trevor Story is going to give you in 2024. And then you got Duran and Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill could be, again, a really good player, a really good solid player. Duran, really good solid player. But Duran doesn't really have that much time in the majors, and O'Neill has been up and down. So I just have to give them the worst grade out of all these AL East teams.
Question. Let's assume for a second that Trevor Story remains or plays to the level that he did in Colorado. Would that change your ranking system at all? Or even if he goes out and has a career year or a year that merited the long-term contract with the Red Sox, doesn't matter. The Red Sox are still fifth in the division up the middle.
Exactly. I think it would help them, obviously, but no, I don't think it would change the order of this ranking. No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And quite frankly, it's very humdrum, and that's just the vibe I have for really the entire Red Sox team this year. Like, I don't think they're going to be terrible. I think they're going to be under 500, and they're just going to underwhelm and not really be in the hunt for anything, quite frankly.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty quick where, they're out of the race, really, for the division and then for the wild card a little bit later on. But I just don't see this team really doing much of anything. I mean, obviously with that ballpark and the power that they have, they're going to put up some runs. They always do. But in this exercise up the middle, like, we're not even getting into the pitching, for God's sakes, but just up the middle here, I don't see a lot of thickness, except for if Trevor Story becomes who he was in Colorado, and then if, let's say, Grissom becomes another Atlanta Brave monster piece, that's fantastic for them, but I still don't think that it changes the rankings.
There must be something in the air in Boston where guys sign a big contract, they go there, they get hurt, or they don't live up to expectations. Looking at you, Carl Crawford, among others. It's just, there's something about it, I guess, sometimes.
I thought about Carl Crawford. I thought about Pablo Sandoval. And then, yeah, Trevor Story so far. It's not great.
Chris Sale as well. I guess we could add him to the list.
When you win a ring, though.
That's true. Yeah.
No.
Hey, we're all about keeping the Red Sox out of the playoffs. I don't think the Rays want to have to face them in the ALDS or the ALCS or anything like that anytime soon.
You know,
all right.
In this exercise, I just kind of like made another game for myself here.
Okay.
I kind of, if you take all catchers, I selected the best catching duo. For all second basemen, I tagged the best second base duo. For each team, the Red Sox did not get one single highlighted.
Right. No, that's fair. And that's another thing with this question from Ty, because it is specific, but also broad in a sense of, are we just going by starters? Are we focusing on offense, defense, overall value? Because I think and we'll see how your rankings shake up, Ulises, but where on paper, the Rays might not impress as much as what they might actually output with all their substitutions and maneuvers and shifts and putting guys in the right position to succeed in utilizing platoons and all that. And of course, not having Val, who shall not be named, part of the equation either. That takes a little bit, not a little bit, but a huge bump as well. All right, we're going to continue this. We got 4 more teams to rank in the AL East up the middle series. Great question from Ty. Really got us thinking here. But first, we need to tell the listeners something very important. That is this. You can get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with what they have called quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, to shoot your shot today. FanDuel, they are the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, Ulises, we've agreed that the Red Sox are numero 5 in this list. Who do you have at 4, at Cuatro, in the up the middle AL East rankings?
So this one, I think it could be biased from me. I will take hate on this. That's fine. I got the Blue Jays.
Okay.
I got the Blue Jays on this. Kiermaier, Varsho. We know Kiermaier. We don't even need to go in depth of what Kiermaier means to a team. Defensively, awesome. Can he stay healthy? Is he going to have another bat season like he did? Because it was actually pretty impressive what he did with the bat in Toronto. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. But Bichette as a shortstop and Santiago Espinal as the backup, that's solid. Schneider and Biggio. Schneider was the best MLB player for like 2 weeks, it seemed, where everything he hit was gold and he was hitting everything. But again, question mark in there. And Biggio has been underwhelming, I think, of the guys coming from the second generation. Biggio, Bichette, and Guerrero. Like, Biggio just has not been that productive. And you got Kirk and Jansen, which that is a good, solid catching duo.
Okay. So just so I'm correct, are you just in this ranking, are you just picking one individual? Or are you tying some of these up? Like, are you putting Jansen and Kirk as a tandem in your ranking here?
That's correct. I'm putting them together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I heard you mention Dalton Varsho, and I was just assuming that it'd be KK all day, more or less, assuming he's able to stay healthy.
Well, yeah, that's true. Varsho could, move here and there. You're right. But I just basically was using the depth chart found on Fangraphs.
Okay,
each team.
understood. I actually, believe it or not, and people are probably going to dislike this, I have the Rays number 4. And just based on, again, on paper, player to player. And I mean, we know the candidates, but I'll just run through them quickly here. Rene Pinto, still unproven. We don't know
Yep.
who his tandem is going to be as of yet. Second base, Brandon Lowe, plus a whole other cast of characters, maybe. We know Brandon Lowe's injury history. It's spotty. It's sketchy.
Yeah.
Shortstop, Caballero. I think Caballero, putting the marker in that he is the, quasi full-time permanent shortstop. What do you see him as? 2-WAR player, maybe?
Yeah. Around.
2.2 WAR player, something like
Yeah.
that, which isn't bad. I mean,
No.
that's impressive. That stands the test of time, but it's not Wander Franco 6 or 7.
Exactly.
And then Jose Siri, I think he probably tops out at 3-WAR player. So I'm just kind of going out and trying to average the WARs of each up the middle position, the starters, and that's how I came up with the Rays at number 4. And then I had the Blue Jays flip-flopped at well, do I have them at? Yeah. No. That's incorrect. I'm sorry. I have brain fog here. I have the Rays 4th.
Uh-huh.
I have the Blue Jays actually 2nd.
Ah, wow. Okay. Yeah, so then there's that disconnect. No. For me, for number 3, I have the Rays. I have the Rays at 3rd with everything that you said. In fact, we don't know the pair up for Pinto, and we don't know who Pinto is. So when you look at the catching, I mean, Wong and McGuire, everything that we said is true, but could you not say the same thing about Pinto and whoever you're going to pair him up with? Kinda.
And that's kind of where I go back if we're going to compare the Blue Jays and Rays. I mean, you have them flip-flopped in another way. Catching position for the Blue Jays as of today is much stronger than the Rays.
Yes.
Shortstop, Bichette, stronger than the Rays.
Yes.
Center field, you could argue, stronger than
you
the
could
Rays.
Argue. I'll take the Rays, though.
Okay.
You could argue, but I'll take the Rays. And then second base with Brandon Lowe, and I put Brandon Lowe and Curtis Mead.
Yeah,
and then
I would, pin the Rays at second base above the Blue Jays, but I'm still taking, I don't think it's out of the question or crazy to suggest that 3 of the 4 up the middle positions are stronger, the starters, for the Blue Jays and the Rays as of today. But again, that's not even getting into, we're going to rotate in Mead, and eventually we're going to call up Caminero, and we're going to have Ahmed Rosario in the fold. I'm just kind of trying to look at it bare bones, more or less, because the Rays are able to extract. That's why, each and every year they're able to, win 95 plus games, and they're able to do amazing things.
I don't think, if you're looking at this objectively, I don't think that ranking the Rays 4th in this exercise is a blasphemous thing. On the contrary, like if you rank all these players by WAR, which I did, the Rays did come out 4th for me.
Yeah,
the Rays did come out 4th in all these names, right above the Red Sox and touching the Blue Jays. But knowing who the Blue Jays are, what they've done in the past, these are the same names that we've been told, oh, this is the second coming of the greatest team ever, and they have yet to do anything. And I know that the Rays are always loved. So that's where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to look at too much at the numbers. I'm going to put them up. So I've kind of flip-flopped that ranking there.
Okay. So as of right now, let's just, before we blow the lid off this thing, I have the Red Sox 5th. I have the Rays 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Blue Jays 2nd. You have the Red Sox 5th. You have the Blue Jays 4th,
mm-hmm.
and the Rays 3rd.
Correct.
Okay. We'll get to the final 2 teams But first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience something very important.
That's true. And you know what? When you want to see any of these teams, you got to use Gametime. You got to use Gametime because Gametime is the place. It's the only ticketing app that can give you complete peace of mind with your purchase. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. In fact, they have deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. And this can be football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and much more. So today, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Okay. Your number 2, and what I'm going to assume is my number 3. Who is your number 2?
So my number 2, God, it's the Yankees. My number 2 is the Yankees.
We vomited having to throw that out there. And
Yeah.
the Yankees, I'm with you. They're my number 3. They're your number 2.
Yeah. It's just, look, again, let's go back position by position. Catching duo. Austin Wells, young guy. Could be great. Could be nothing. But we know what Trevino has done, and it has been pretty good. I mean, in fact, the guy was an all-star in 2022. So he just got injured in 2023. So can he be that guy? Maybe, but that's a leg up on what the Rays have, on what the Red Sox have, and possibly what the Blue Jays have. So you go to second base, and then you get Gleyber Torres and Oswald Peraza, maybe a little bit of LeMahieu. You know, I've followed Gleyber from not afar, a little bit closer, just because of Venezuelan bump.
Yeah,
he's a solid player. Like defensively, kind of a blank show, but offensively, I mean, I think every team would be happy to have the production that he gives you at second base.
Yeah, you can basically pencil him in, assuming he's healthy, a 3.5, 4, 4.5 WAR player.
Yeah, and that's incredibly valuable. And then you go into the Anthony Volpe won the Gold Glove, which I know it's not a conspiracy theory, but maybe not so PC of saying it. But I mean, if Wander isn't Wander and Wander isn't doing Wander things or alleged things, Wander wins the Gold Glove. We all agree with that, right? Like Volpe got it just because Wander wasn't allowed, quote unquote.
But also Anthony Volpe was he didn't have to step away from the game in late August due to some alleged transgressions. You know?
Exactly. So
that's the difference.
That's the difference. And he apparently got better as the season went on. The bat could explode, had exploded in the minor leagues, didn't explode necessarily, but the guy, I mean, has some pop, has some speed. I think he had a 2020 season, actually.
Yeah, and he's 22. I mean, there's maybe room to refine and develop his contact skills and plate discipline skills and everything like that. At the end of the day, he's a tooled up shortstop who won a Gold Glove at 22 years old.
Exactly. Like not a lot of people can say that. And then finally, I mean, this is kind of the cherry on top. Grisham, incredibly good defensive center field. It's not going to do much with the bat. But then who's the big guy who's going to take the biggest at bats there? It's Aaron Judge.
Yeah, Aaron Judge.
Come on. I mean,
like even if he's he plays 105 games, he's going to put together a 5 WAR season.
The guy broke the American League home run record with 62 in 2022. And then he was on pace to doing it again in 2023 if he didn't run over that fence in Dodger Stadium. So
yeah.
He's not a question mark at all in my book. I mean, this guy is just at his peak right now. Right. So I got to give it to. Yeah. I got to give it to. I mean, Judge and Grisham is better than basically all of these guys.
Right.
That we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it makes me feel icky, but we got to put the Yankees up there and give them the respect that they've put in place there, up the middle. Now, we had the same number 5, and we have the same number one, the upstart, uprising, still very young, but extremely, extremely talented and productive and only getting better Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wagon what they have. You start again, let's do catching to center field. Rutschman and McCann. I mean, I'm not even looking that much into McCann. It's Adele Rutschman, dude. Like, how, I am envious of these fan bases that have just stud defensive and hitting catchers for 8 years. And the Orioles have gotten twice that. Remember Matt Wieters? Like this, Matt, if you don't remember who Matt Wieters is, just remember that in college, they used to call his nickname, Matt Wieters' nickname in college was God. What? They called him God. And so the Orioles, in less than 15 years, have gotten Wieters and Rutschman. Like, man, I'm jealous. Yeah. I'm jealous.
And quite frankly, I think that assuming he's able to keep up the trajectory that he's on, like 10, 12 years down the road, we'll be saying, Rutschman had the same career arc or similar career arc, putting him in the same conversation as Joe Mauer and Buster Posey of the previous generation or generations.
Yeah,
like he's
on the path.
He's this decade's those guys.
Yes, 100%. And if you want to go a few decades before, the Fisks and the benches, but like he's on the path. He has gotten on the train. He bought his ticket and he's going. Now, if injuries or underperformance, takes him out of the train, fine. But he's on that train right now. It's really a treat to watch.
Yeah, and then going around up the middle, Jordan Westberg at second. Short could be interesting. It could be a combination of Gunnar Henderson and handing the keys off to Holiday, which means if you're handing the keys off to Holiday, then, if Gunnar Henderson is handing anything off to Holiday, that means that that guy's going to be pretty good very quickly as well. So whoever you want to pencil in there at short is going to put up amazing numbers. And then center field, the mainstay of Cedric Mullins. I mean, you could almost take whatever they get from shortstop and catcher, add up those WARs, add up that value, and it might even equal or surpass the other 4 teams on the list up the middle. Quite frankly, it's that crazy.
It's nuts. If I have it right here, the projected WAR for if you add catcher and outfield, it's 8.2. That's higher than any other in the AL East. And so, no, this is a really stacked team. And if I took the, like I said, the depth chart from Fangraphs and how many plate appearances per player in these positions, and they're saying Jackson Holiday and Jordan Westberg for second, and then shortstop Gunnar Henderson, Holiday, and then poor Jorge Mateo getting the third most at bats at shortstop. Right. But that's ridiculous. I mean, that's a silver slugger. And the way that they're selling Jackson Holiday to us on MLB social media, it's like a foregone conclusion that this guy's going to be a guy.
Right. I mean, we talk so much about Junior Caminero, and Jackson Holiday might be a peg or two above him. I mean, he's, he might be more than the Bobby Witt kid with Kansas City. He's, I mean, the 2023, 2024, 2025 is Wander Franco. That's what I'm hearing anyway.
Exactly. So
that's the way he's got the bloodlines to boot.
Yeah, he does. I mean, we enjoyed Matt Holiday for many years, and if this gets even better, which how could he not be? Not how could he not be, but he has all the opportunities and chances to be better than his dad, and his dad is in the Hall of Very, Very Good.
Yeah,
the Hall of Very, Very Good. I have a question for you.
Yeah, okay. I've got a question for you too. Go first.
Okay, good. So looking at all these, all the catchers, second base, shortstop, and center field. Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, I picked the best catching duo, the best second base duo, the best shortstop, and who would you give the best catching duo?
We're going one by. Okay, I get what you're saying. Best catching duo, it would be between the Orioles and the Blue Jays, and just based on what Adley can do alone, I would give it to the O's.
That's who I picked. I picked the O's having the best catching tandem in the whole AL
Yeah.
East. So let's go across second base. Who do you got?
Second base, I don't like it per se, but I'll go with the Yankees and Gleyber Torres.
That's fair. This is the only win I gave the Rays, and
Okay.
that's Brandon Lowe and Curtis Mead. I feel like if you go back to the second base competition episode that we did, I feel like this is a perfect platoon waiting to happen. You get Mead to crush lefties, you get Brandon Lowe to crush the righties, and hopefully he's healthy enough. That could be a very mean second base.
Yes. What about shortstop? Or I guess you're asking me shortstop.
No, that's fine. Shortstop. Who do you got?
Oh, I'm kind of leaning Orioles.
That's why
whether they want to plug in Henderson for half the season, then Holiday, or however they want to shake it, I'm kind of going with them.
I agree. I picked Gunnar and Holiday. Like, it's just going to be nasty.
Yeah.
And then I think we probably are going to pick the same center field.
The man that's a giant out there in center, Aaron Judge. Yes.
Aaron Judge, the guy who can make. You never thought, go back to like 15 years ago, which is insane to say, but it's true. Go back 15 years ago, and then look at Mike Stanton, folks, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then think, there's going to be a guy that's going to dwarf Mike Stanton. You would have been like, what? You're so stupid. Get out of here. That's who Aaron Judge is. He dwarfs on Stanton. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So just to reiterate, my 5 through 1 are Red Sox, Rays, Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles. Your 5 through 1 is Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rays, Yankees, Orioles. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep, that's correct.
But that is not necessarily how you see the division shaking out. That's just up the middle, correct? Okay.
Just up the middle. Exactly. Up the middle. Hopefully, the Yankees are not that high up in the standings as we have put them in this exercise. But we want to hear from you. Put them down in the comments. Rank these 5 teams up the middle. I don't want to hear, but third base. But Isaac Paredes can hit 35 this year. I don't want to hear it, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go up the middle. Catcher, second, short, and center field. And then give us your ranking 1 through 5 on who's got the best to worst.
Out of all the individuals that we mentioned, if there was one player that you would have the ability and could put on the Rays, who would it be? Just for the 2024 season.
Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've never had a right-handed power hitter like that. Never.
Yeah. As much as we love Isaac Paredes, not quite the same.
Like, double what Isaac did, and that's Aaron Judge. Like, that's how insane that is. Yeah. And by the way, he can cover center field. What? Well.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the obvious one, but if I'm going to go with a 1B,
yes,
I would say Adele Rutschman, just because we're hangering for a franchise catcher, and just the full package that he would provide, not just offensively, but the game calling, the framing, the blocking pitchers, the throwing runners out, everything that is enveloped there. And that's another question, is like, if you could, if you could have the best player at which position, which would it be? And I might lean a little bit towards catcher, just because they're handling the ball and involved so much in the game on every pitch, where, a center fielder or a shortstop or a second baseman might get 1 or 2 balls hit to them in an entire game.
100% true. If Aaron Judge is a Ray, that means that he has to at least hope to play 81 games on turf.
Yeah.
And I want that to not happen if I want him healthy. So, hey, you know what? I'll agree with you and say Rutschman probably is the way to go.
And again, great question by Ty McCann. Literally took up our entire episode, and very poignant too, because look at what the Rangers did in 2023.
Yeah.
They weren't too shabby up the middle between Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and Jonah Heim and Leotis Taveras. All those guys were strong offensively, definitely. And I think defensively, they all got high marks, except for maybe Corey Seager. Some of the analytics didn't love him, but pretty much across the board, it's like, yeah, that's a really stoic up the middle that you can ride with.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope so if you're spending what, $500 million on
just on two positions, second base and shortstop. So
yeah. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Ty, for this question. Guys, this is what happens. You are part of the show if you send these questions, these suggestions, these mailbags. Like, you send it, we read them all, and I think if you're a Locked On Race listener / watcher on YouTube and hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button, you know that that's how we operate.
Right.
Like, what you give to us, we are going to put it out there.
Yeah. Now, which team might use the most up the middle players this season? I think we can agree it'll probably be the Rays, just by all their movements and shaking. And that's kind of what makes the exercise a little bit difficult in that respect. But just wanted to put that out there as well. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.